Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. And today we're doing Manchester United against Crystal Palace. Oh my! Man United is slowly becoming the biggest laughing stock in the Premier League ever. Um, Look, go if you want a proper rant about the Ineos group and understanding a lot of the lies that's being told about Manchester United. Go watch the first sort of 5 minutes of the video last week when I cover that. But Man United have got some serious problems, and their club is in a death rattle where if they don't fix anything soon, they're never ever going to get back to their former ways. Because as soon as you start not getting Champions League money and revenue, like it's such a knock-on of a snowball effect. And when you've got so many people on so high wages, it cripples you. Absolutely cripples you. But when you're playing also stupid formations, because none of the players can play the way this guy wants to play, that they just can't. So the only way you brought him in is because you know the club's going to fail. And if the club's going to fail, that's because you're trying to do a buyout. But here we are with the club failing, and you've got poor Kobe Mainoo's up front. I mean, look at this touch. This is just shocking. I'm going to show you a couple of things before we get to the goals, because the goals are just based. I mean, yeah, it's just terrible. The lack of understanding of football, which I'm seeing more and more in the Premier League, is just it's embarrassing. It really is. So the problem when you don't have a forward, right? There's different things when you're a forward or a midfielder or a defender. Defenders have it easy, right? What does that mean? Well, when they're receiving the ball, they're not necessarily not normally on the run. They're not normally under pressure, and you'll say, oh, but they high pressure nowadays, Cash. That's not real pressure. Real pressure is receiving the ball in centre midfield, which Kobe Mainoo does, right? That's real pressure because the guy is always on you. But when you're up front, there's even more pressure. And there's also a different way that you receive the ball, because normally you're on a run, a sprint into space, exactly what's happening right here. And there's a different type of touch that you have to have, which is different type of touch for a midfielder. It's all different, all right? All of it. And some of the skills do translate, but not all of them, especially when you see this, right? We receive this ball run, boom, bosh. That is an absolutely shocking first touch. Why? Because he doesn't have to have a first touch like that in centre midfield. He isn't taking a touch trying to beat and run past the player like a winger does or somebody up front does. If that was anyone half decent, look at where he is right now. That's where the ball would be, and it'd be in the bottom corner there. That's the difference of a striker and not a striker. Simple one touch right there. That's 1-0. If United have got a striker, any competent striker, Chris Wood from Forest, he's scoring that, taking a touch, slipping it straight in there. But that's the difference of having a player in the correct position, the right skill sets that they've got, and then you get to win the football game. When you just bang any old player in where you want because you haven't got any options, you're in all sorts of problems. But let's move it on. Again, I want to show you how awkward this is from United, right? This is simple. This guy here, I think it's Mainoo again, actually, completely and utterly unmarked. If he gets that ball in there, any striker in the Premier League, that's in the bottom corner there. No questions asked. Not a problem. And there's multiple ways they'll do it. They'll take the ball on their, say if they're left-footed, they're probably just going to take it first time and score over there. If they're right-footed, they're going to take a touch and drive powerfully into the box, sit the keeper down and put it wherever they want. If you're a midfielder running into the box, this is what you do instead. Do you see how it's scuffed and it's caught under his feet? It's stopped dead and he can't run onto it because he doesn't really understand where he is in his positional play and he's not really a striker. You're just going, that's awful. And then he takes a snapshot at it because he doesn't know what else to do. It's terrible play. It's absolutely terrible play. And it all comes down to they've got players in the wrong positions doing the wrong jobs. Wasn't he playing like a defensive midfielder for England in the Euros last summer or something? Like, you can't do this to players because then what people do is they go, oh, he's rubbish. Well, yeah, because he doesn't play that position. And you just create a massive problem. And you can just see it in two simple clips, just two simple things of his technical ability isn't up to the task that he's asked to do. And yeah, but let's move it on. Right, before we get to the goals, because I'm going to try to sort of cover more and more highlights as we go, so you can learn more about football if you like, or you can just fast forward to the goals or whatever you want to do. But right here, I want you to watch what this Muppet in goal does. Right. Also, think about it. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and you've still got a player unmarked, and you've still got a player unmarked. That is shocking. I mean, There's no point even trying to talk about it because it is just so woeful. It's unbelievable. But watch the clown in goal, right? This is how incompetent he is at this level. As soon as this cross comes, watch his decision-making ability. He panics. Watch. Here comes the cross. There he goes. Whoa, 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 stop. And starts backing up. Because he can't get to it. And if that was a decent header, it would have been in the goal because the keeper's halfway from running forward, halfway from running back because he genuinely doesn't know what to do on crosses, corners. Anything in the air, he's scared and he's just lost. I mean, if it was once off, you'd be fine, but it's not. It's week in, week out. He is trash. Let's move it on. Okay, so one of the things you want to look at when you're playing against another team is, are they disorganised? Where are they disorganised? Where's their chump? Who's their player that is making the wrong decisions? And we're going to target him because he doesn't know what he's doing. What do we mean by wrong decisions? Right, so think of your back four of your line as this little shifty unit as it's moving. If one part of that unit isn't moving with the other part of it, if you play against Liverpool, it'll be Trent Alexander-Arnold because he's always a little bit too far forward, so there's a little bit of extra space there. So he's out of phase or out of sync with his team. He's not fluid, moving backwards and forwards. He's always just one step further forward. And actually, funny, Liverpool's got two. Andy Robinson's doing it this year for them as well. So right here, I want you to look at this little phase. Look at this. This is where the back five is. Guess who's not in phase with the play? So when this run is going, right, straight through the heart of Man United's defence, he is trying to play him offside, which of course he can't because the ball's already going to get played before he gets up there. So he's running forward while his rest of his team is running back. Watch, boom, 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 boom. They're running backwards. He's running to try to get the line up. So what does that mean? His starting position, now he's back in line, you know, with his little team, right? He was off by about 5 yards, so he had to run to get back the line to get him offside. Okay, so he's out of phase to start with. So that also means he is starting position when this ball starts to go. He was just running this way. Now he's got to change and run back that way instead of already being in sync with everyone so he can identify the situation and start cutting out the problem before it happens. He can't even identify the problem because he's still trying to get back into his little line. So when this ball comes across, look. Now what's he doing? Now he's going to pressure the ball. Should he be? Or should he be dropping with his line? He can't be pressuring the ball. And there's a reason why. It's because he's in the middle of the field. He's fallen over slightly as well. That doesn't really is relevant, right? He's got loads of space here to let to drop off into, so this guy can come a little bit further here. That's how much time he's got to make a decision. So if he drops off, he's got this much time to make a decision. Why? Because there's also a player coming, marking him doing there. Him stepping forward makes this the guy. I'm sorry, not the guy on the ball. Makes him make a decision, and it makes it easy for him because as soon as he steps forward, everyone else, all of his other defenders are going backwards. So this space that he should have dropped into opens up for him to pass the ball into instead. That's what ends up happening. Bump straight through that gap because he steps forward. If he doesn't, he can't make that pass. But the out of syncness of that back five is just shown there in a simple clip. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. He's not sure what he's doing. Old Harry Maguire. And the reason I'm going on about it is because when they score the goal later on, have a guess what happens. The exact same play that I've just shown you here and the out of syncness of what he's doing wrong is the exact same reason that they score a goal on him. We'll get to that though. So here we are, right? This is one of the other problems. United just humping the ball forward. This is easily knocked back in by Crystal Palace. Boom. This is where we're going to stop it, right? Because I want to show you the next little bit because this is where the ball comes in and the exact same thing I was showing you with the defence a second ago. Harry Maguire does again. This is where the ball's dropped, been pinged in, blump. Yeah, I don't know who it is for United here. He's on the floor being a baby, needs to be stronger. But look where he is. Look where he is. Is there a straight line? No. Why is it important to have a straight line? Because when you have a straight line, it narrows the angles of passing. If one of you is slightly forward, it gives a little bit more space for them to actually pass the ball in behind, right? It makes everything just a little bit easier. That's why it's important to have your straight lines, because it just cuts the angles down. And then, of course, the spacing in between them is important as well, and the spacing in between the players. But yeah, we're not worried about that right now. So as we move this forward, right, 1, 2, there, look. Do you see where he was? And now he's backed up. Now here's the problem. His body shape is like he's trying to engage the ball, but he's nowhere near the ball. So here we go. We've got a player just making a blindside run behind him. He's got no idea what's going on. He's got no idea. He should be going with the runner. This guy doesn't know what he's going on. And it's all just a complete mess. And then what you're looking at from here is, can he make a pass into that little space where he stood up? Do you see? He's just flat-footed. Doesn't know what to do. Again, the ball's played him right behind him. it's just terrible. And it comes to this playing this back 3-5 system, because it's very difficult. Like, if players are used to playing in certain zones and doing what they're doing, and people can go, oh, they're professional footballers. Okay. Yeah, but okay, you've been writing with your right hand all your life. Now go write with your left hand and tell me that you should be good at it because you've got an English degree. It doesn't work like that. You can't do one thing all your life, your professional career, and now go, oh, now you're going to completely change your mindset and your way of thinking to do a new thing, and you're going to get it right. It's going to get worse for United. They're going to get hammered by some team by the end of the season. If you've been around since last season, you would have heard me say this probably about 5 times every single weekend on goals scored, because this happened so much last year, where here's your line. They've actually dropped just as the ball's kicked, so didn't pause it just right. This is where they are, right? This is where their defensive line is. If you are defending this high with the ball there, you are giving them all of this space to attack. All of it, right? The key thing as a defender is space is the enemy. What you want to do is drop your line to about here. Is it close? Yeah. But what you don't do is you don't give them that area to put the ball into so they can run on and smash it into the goal. And the other problem is all your defenders are defending towards your own goal. If your line is set further back, you're running and you're clearing the ball away from, oh yeah, it's your goal. When you've got that massive gap, and I'm going to try to show you another angle in a minute of how far forward they are, this is just easy. You're just inviting a drop ball into the space for someone to run on and do anything they can to it. And that's what they do. Goes up, knocks it, simple little knock. And this is also awful from the keeper. Look at his feet move. Look at his feet. He's rooted to the ground, right? So he's not actually loose where he can actually do anything. Well, jump up. He's already dictated what he's going to do, right? So he can't really react to what this header is because his feet are already set. I hate it when people say, oh, you set your feet. Yeah, you can, but no. As it goes, though, watch, dump. Now he goes to jump, doesn't get near it. Because he set his feet, he can't take a step back and jump. Okay, you understand that? He's down here like this, and he's got to jump. Instead of just being able to doof back, jump, push it over the bar, job done. Doesn't. And again, you were looking at it, have a look at the freeze frame. Look who we've got right here and right here. Who is going to react quicker? And think about what I said a second ago. If they were all defending here, running out when that shot came in, when the ball comes in, instead of everybody running towards the goal here to follow up, they're having to run out of the goal because they're clearing out the area. Completely different way. They're not, so they're just running in, tapping the ball in the goal. I mean, it is so simple. It is painful to watch at this level. Absolutely painful. You're giving them the space to run into. You're letting them knock the ball at your goal, and everyone's running towards the goal, and anybody just taps it in the goal. I mean, you didn't even know it hit him and it went in. Terrible. Let's move it on. Okay, that's how high that line is and how high they are up from the 18-yard box, inviting them to drop the ball into that space to go towards the goal. I mean, that's a huge target. Even me in my ripe old age, I could hit that target, miss all these players and put it up for a decent height for someone to volley that into the goal. So they've got no problem doing it. The other thing as well is, look at this. This is shocking. I think this is the kiddie that gets the goal. There's 2 players here, and there's only one little Harry Maguire. What are you doing? You answer lunch, have a pick. Look, it's like, how many players are there unmarked? You've got 2 on 1 over here from United. You've got it's just like no one knows what they're doing. I swear. Like, what are you doing? Like, who are you marking there? Come over, stand with the goal scorer, and maybe you stop him doing it. It's terrible all over. Okay, so here we are in this back 3-5 nonsense. Now, remember, if you're playing, there's a million ways of playing a back 3. Like, I love it when people say, "Oh, this is how you do it." No, it isn't. There's hundreds of ways. And I hate it when people say, "Oh, he plays as a number 6." Really? Does he play like Gattuso in a number 6 or Alexandre Pirlo in a number 6? Because Pirlo plays very, very differently to what Gattuso would do. So I can't stand it when these muppets like pigeonhole and say, "Oh, well, he's playing like an 8." What number 8? Because Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard played completely differently. Like, what are you talking about? So if they're playing a back 3, with a sweeper who's, basically taking the space away. His job is, because he's not very pacey, is to sit 5 yards back and always cut out and make sure there's no through balls in behind. Okay, makes sense because Harry Maguire's a bit slow. That would be a good way of playing. What you wouldn't do if you had a Harry Maguire is try to play offsides because you don't have the pace with him to get back. So he doesn't know what he's doing, and that's why I'm questioning this here, because he's not playing as like a deep line sweeper, trying to make sure no ball's going behind. He's actually trying to play a high line in with the other two into a solid back three. How do we know that? Well, because of his actions on the previous takes and on what he's about to do here. Okay, because he's completely at fault for this again. Watch his movement. If he's playing as a deep liner, so deep line, that's what we're going to call it. It's not really that, but let's just say it's a deep liner, and he's going back to make sure he cuts out the ball into that space. All right, he's basically tracking back and conceding the ground. Right, so think of it this way: the further back you go, the more ground you concede. Okay, fine. If you come up here, you're not conceding; you're holding your line. But you might just be conceding because you're just slow. And you've got to go back and you've got to concede that. So when this ball's played, watch him. He starts to analyse the danger, and he starts to run to play offside. Do you see that? He starts to get back on side, so he can play off this kiddie here offside, which is clearly not, by the way. He's miles on. So if he's playing as a deep line and knowing that that's his responsibility because he doesn't have any pace, instead of stepping this way, he would have come back in this way. But also, if he was in phase with his team, he would have been here in the first place, and that guy would have been offside. Just like we talked about in the other two clips, when he's always 5 yards back or he's always out of phase from those other defenders, it's the exact same problem that's happened here. He's too far back. Well, is that designed? Is that how Amorim wants him to play? I'd suggest it is, because he's always doing it wrong. But if it is what he's doing, it's always the problem, because they keep giving up chances because he's out of phase in the middle. The other thing that happens when he does that, he opens up a pocket of space here, and he's either stepping in here or he's always going the wrong way. So off we go. We play the ball in, buff, simple ball in behind. He doesn't know what's going on, this guy. He assumes that he was doing the right thing. This guy's offside. He's got no idea that Harry Maguire wasn't following him. He had no idea that Harry Maguire was 2 to 4 yards back. None. And here's the other problem I've got. Play the game, mate. Don't stick your hand up to the linesman. You get on, stick on your afterburners, because if you try running with your hand up or you try running properly, you'll get there. Running with your hand up, you won't. Go and do your job properly. See what you can do. Now, as much as I rag on Onana, keeper, unless you're one of the best 3-4 in the world, you're going to get scored on. It is what it is. So off we go into the races. There we go, into the races. Look at Harry Maguire. He's so slow, and that's the point I'm trying to make here. He's getting played into a situation where he's not capable of doing it. He's not going to beat them for pace back there. So what? Just a complete mess. Everything that United seem to be doing with Amorim is a complete mess. They're going to keep losing games. It's not going to get better for them. And there's many, many reasons why, but I'll cover that in another video, I think, not today. We're going a little bit too much on this trashing Man United's system, formations and players. It's a little bit too much. Can't believe Christian Eriksen is wearing a Manchester United shirt still in 2025. Unbelievable, some of this stuff. Right, but here we go. As they're coming down, it's just a simple... by the way, if you ever played indoor football, this is one of the great skills and the reasons you play indoor football. Because a lot of the time, when you're running at goal, you can't score because the goal's too small and you have to knock it to your teammate. It's a very, very good way of teaching people not to be selfish. So if you're a coach or a player and you want to understand how to, get your team bonded a little bit better and being less selfish, play with smaller goals, because you can't go straight through the keeper because it's too small and you've got to pass around him, behind him, and that's all they do here. Simple. And it's in the back of the net box. Other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.